All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let us roll this main footage back. If you are not familiar with Bishop Charles Ellis, Bishop Charles Ellis is the pastor of Greater Grace over there in Detroit, Michigan. Greater Grace was the place that held Aretha Franklin's 17-day funeral. Um, uh, Her funeral lasted at the beginning, I believe, of October and ended on the 1st of November. Is that right? I think that's right. It just lasted a long time. It was just a long time, just a very, very, very long time. She had about two or three costume changes. There's two or three costume changes. It was just something else to behold. It was like Diana Ross at the Grammys. It was amazing. It was amazing. If you're unfamiliar with Bishop Ellis, Bishop Ellis was also the one who hugged Ariana Grande very tightly, from what I understand. And Ariana Grande, pretty much, he held her so close, he was touching her breast, allegedly. And there was a big stink about that. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with that. And Bishop Ellis, a lot of people's eyebrows was raised with him when he did that. Well, now there is a woman who is coming forward now. Oh yeah, Sheridan, everybody's funeral was over there at Greater Grace. Aretha Franklin, Rosa Parks. I mean, everybody's funeral was over there. I ain't lying. When Aretha Franklin had her funeral, I ain't lying. You could have cooked a whole rib tip dinner. I'm not lying. You could have put the ribs on the grill, and by the time the funeral was over, you still wasn't ready to eat. I ain't lying. It was just so much, so much. It was just too much. All the singing. Oh, oh, Mary. I said, oh God, not Mary, don't you weep. Jesus, here we go. This is gonna be a long funeral. Because anytime they go Mary, oh Mary, I said, oh God, this gonna last. Jesus, help me. I think I got in the car and went to the drive. Wait a minute. I got in the car. I went somewhere, you all. I got in the car. I drove somewhere, came back, and the funeral was still on. I'm not kidding. Lord have mercy. When I tell you that was the longest funeral I have ever seen in my entire life, just long. Even Whitney Houston's funeral wasn't that long. I'm just saying, they had that old stupid Marvin Winans over there preaching, and we'll talk about Marvin Winans on tomorrow. But I'm gonna deal with this on today. So, Greater Grace, if you're unfamiliar, well, he apparently has a mistress, and the mistress is out here talking, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Here is her statement. I don't know if this music is going to affect anything, so let me turn this music off. But he's walking in with his wife. She puts up my ex-boyfriend entering his birthday dinner with his wife and his children. So that is Bishop Ellis. If you're familiar with him, he was also on the Preachers of Detroit, but he's walking in with his wife and they're waving. And look where the ex-girlfriend is sitting. She has a front row seat to this situation. And they're walking in and he's waving. Now look, now he's gonna see her. Look. There's no way he waved at her. That is in direct view of the person. So he had to see her, ladies and gentlemen. He had to see her. He had to see her. All right. So let's move along. So she puts that up as he's walking in with his family. She says, my ex-boyfriend is entering his birthday dinner with his wife and his children. And then they go stand and they go take some pictures. Well, this has hit the fan, ladies and gentlemen, because she has now come out and she is continuing to talk about this situation. Okay. And not only is she continuing to talk about it, ladies and gentlemen, she is now sharing private text messages from her and him, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I don't have time to go through all of these text messages and all of this stuff that she is sharing. I'm just going to simply let you know. It looks like Bishop Charles Ellis III over there in Detroit, Michigan, over there at Greater Grace. Sir, it looks like you got a mistress. Looks like you got a mistress, sir. And that's some crazy stuff. That is some crazy stuff. Let's just read this real quick. She says, you could probably get a touch if you actually got real with yourself for a change instead of walking around like the one-eyed, toothless religious demon you are. If I ask you for something, just maybe God might be trying to give you a chance. But since you can't exploit me anymore, or me and my daughter, not only over here hungry and dying, you can't help. Again, if you was actually fathering correctly instead of trying to get your wet, you probably would have a better outcome. Oh Lord, Jesus, 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 Lord, oh Lord. And look what she said here. That was God testing you and you failed, blah, blah, blah. And she's going into all of this stuff, Lord Jesus. Now, let me say this. Let me say this. Let me say this. Let me say this. Here's my commentary on this as we approach our hour, ladies and gentlemen. There's two things I want to say about this. At the Mad Church Disease channel, I'm not one of these vloggers that immediately start attacking the woman. I'm not that vlogger. I'm not that vlogger, because there's a certain type of groups of vloggers who, when these women come out, they always attack the woman, right? Without fail, that's the immediate response with those dudes. But let me explain something to you so that we can have balance. Number one, they both are wrong. That's number one. Number two, if you study this little expose out, she says that when Todd Hall came to visit the church and he preached a message, that's when her eyes got open. Now, she had been in this relationship with this man for quite some time. I believe that her eyes was open from the get-go. And here lies the problem, because you went into a situation with your eyes open, and now that the man is, staying with his wife, going on about his life and his business, now all of a sudden everybody gets in their feelings and they get mad. Now, I'm not saying that that's a wrong thing. I'm not saying that she shouldn't be in her feelings, but what I am saying is you don't get to have it all your way. This isn't Burger King. You're already committing the man's committing adultery. You're committing fornication with the man, and so it is a situation that is wrong no matter how you look at it. But I always want all of you guys over here to remember that the pastor or the leader is always the person who is in control of that dynamic normally, because they are the person who is in the position of power, and they are the person who has the influence and the money to back that influence. And that's what we must always keep in balance. Now, was she right? No, she wasn't right. Was he right? No, he wasn't right. Neither one of these people are right in this situation. But here's what I don't like either. Why, when everybody wants to come after the preacher and come after the pastor and come after all of these people once they have been, in their little situation or whatever, why does everybody then get so religious afterwards? If you go to this woman's page, this is her page here. You will see all of the stuff that she's listed of her and the bishop, and she's got all of these things here now of him and her, and she's listing all of this stuff. Because if you go watch this video right here, this is the video where she says her eyes was open when Todd Hall came to preach, and then she starts talking to you about all of this stuff. Y'all listen to me. Y'all listen to me very carefully. In all honesty, I just don't understand why y'all always see Jesus after you're mad, and after the person has cut you off, and after all of a sudden the scriptures come alive to you, and then all of a sudden you just want to lay your heart before God and tell your story. It the same stuff with Gigi. It's the same stuff over there with EJ. It's the same stuff with everybody. Everybody gets a revelation, and then all of a sudden it becomes Jesus in the morning, Jesus at night, Jesus at supper time. I mean, it's just Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And I'm like, wait a minute. Wasn't Jesus there when you all was committing fornication and committing adultery? And she was very young, apparently, when they got together, for those of you all. But this is the same bad story and the same bad channel. Now, how are we going to view this, or how am I viewing this over here on this channel? Everybody is wrong, but Bishop Ellis, you in trouble.
We are Mad Church Disease, helping you understand that Jesus plus nothing is everything. This is a show for everyone, believers and non-believers. from churched to the unchurched. Help us grow the channel by supporting our nonprofit causes and create more consistent content. Donate by Cash App or PayPal, or buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com.